Hey, this is Barney from Powerhoof. We just finished doing Ludum Dare, Ludum Dare, and I thought I'd just make a little video going through our decision-making process and some of our work in progress, bits of GIFs and stuff that we captured, and yeah, go through the process, show you what we've got, and then do a little play of the silly little game we made. We had a Skype meeting to start off with. We talked about just brainstorming random stuff, and we just started listing out all of this junk, and we're all jumping in here and putting random notes in it. Let's see, there was a chameleon sort of thing. Your keyboard's filling up. Press the keys more and more crazily, and we just had an idea that it would be fun to scale and shift and grow the body on a guy combat side scroller, which was transform you into different forms. Form you're in constantly changing and you constantly have to adapt. Some dialogue sort of based things, blending in and tricking people and seeing if people were lying, and vampire werewolf stuff. Then that kind of morphed or just splintered off into an organ trail kind of thing, a shapeshitter. That was probably our best idea. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. You shit shapes in the hope of shitting the perfect 10. We invited our buddy Ben to come in and get involved. Ben Porter, who makes Moon Man. But it looks like by the time he was like in there, I think I had already checked out and had already like gone and stopped looking in the document. So sorry, Ben, you got shafted. You missed the boat. Here's Shrimpy, our voice guy, coming in, wanting to do some voices. We had a Skype meeting and we chose to do the transforming, squishing your guy around one. And so we talked briefly about who would do what. Like, John was going to work on, I think, running around and jumping in collision. Dave was going to work on the code to just like grow your guy. This was the first thingy that I did, just a guy that could be kind of in multiple blocks, and I kind of liked the idea of him being pretty like serious and formal looking, just the contrast of a pretty serious looking face with the squishing around. I thought was fun. This is Dave's first little GIF of the kind of work in progress code to stretch the guy out. So initially we hadn't specifically decided on you just being like an extending snake. We were imagining you just be able to squish in all sorts of different ways, and so that's what this guy's doing, is just going crazy. Level design stuff, that put like potential level design stuff, or things that could utilize the stretching to platform that Paul was knocking out. Essentially, all this is Paul saying, "Hey, we should have this sweet grappling hook, and we should also have this, and we should also have that," and Dave having to say, "Cool idea, but it's too much work," which is the hard thing with these like really quick game jam thingies, that you always want to do so much more than you can get done in the time. So this was my next little test, where I was just trying to look at how small he could go, and how I would deal with his feet, and how we would deal with breaking him up into bits, and then if we were squishing him into all sorts of random amorphous shapes, how would that work? Would he just have a big blue blob and just one head somewhere, or would he grow more heads, or what? And I was thinking maybe he could have just these huge monstrous arms, but then I did a test and it looked really, really terrible. If he gets down to one block high, like how he would look there if we just use his head, or if we like make a special case where he squishes into himself. A lot of like back and forth talking about potential extra mechanics and things to do with his arms, like what his arms are going to do, if they're going to dangle there, or if they're going to just be missing, or if you're going to have a special block on him that has the arms that can be used to grab things, or a whole lot of stuff like that. Paul's already blocking out potential level concepts that would use the like scaling mechanics, the physics, lifelike jumping physics. You can jump, you've got it all. You can float. John discovering that like his jumping stuff was terrible, getting to the bottom of that, figuring out what that was there, and getting that sorted out. So this is when we first introduced the thing of being able to suck in your feet. And so that was I think that was something we agreed pretty early on was a cool thing to make the the snaking instrumental in platforming, so that you could snake out, stretch out to a point that's a lot further than you could jump, and then kind of rest on the ground there and suck your legs in. And this ended up being kind of the like hook on a ledge mechanic that we kind of used as one of our core things, really, to just like get you up onto a higher ledge. You make yourself into a little hook, you jump up, hook your head over, and reel your body in. What are we looking at? I hope this isn't a secret. Some kind of secret. Oh shit. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so after that was basically going, Dave started working on just a really simple tile level editor thing. I think he started with a text thing and then very quickly went to something where just in Unity you're just able to kind of paint the scene with kind of blocks that are snapped to a grid, brainstorming about environment stuff. I remember looking at it and going, man, this looks cool. Paul obviously has it figured out. I started to realize that the version of Unity we were all using did not work on the tablet that I was using, which was really annoying. Oh yeah, so this is Dave's little tile editor. It's just like a little thing in Unity where you can kind of select a thing and then go and paint it around in a little tile. At some point I was thinking about a potential match 3 kind of thing. I really liked the idea of like something almost more like Tetris. A Tetris / match 3 thing where you've got Tetris pieces that have gems and things in them that you're trying to line up 3 and connect them, but you know, instead of controlling the 4 of the pieces, you are one of the pieces and you can squish yourself around to try and make yourself into the piece that you need. And so that's what this gem was about. The concept just got too complicated. And then here I was thinking about potentially just using your head as an important point so that you could kind of reach out to solidly stuck things and then press a button to reel yourself in by kind of biting on with your head and sucking your feet in. But if you did it when you weren't biting onto something, your head would suck into your feet, and then potentially you could reach out and grab things, suitcases, I don't know, just that was the thing that came to mind. I was thinking about how to deal with the legs, and if we wanted to or were able to get you to just be completely flush with the floor, or if we required this extra little bit of legs at the bottom. Yeah, we ended up with a kind of messy solution that is, you do have these legs at the bottom, but you can kind of crouch if you need to, and it's a little messy, but there's some stuff about it that is just like so silly that I think it's awesome anyway, just crouching and worming around. So this way we started discussing just the theme of the thing, what would be the real world occupation of this guy. I liked the idea of stretching yourself out and collecting people up and transporting them around, just because visually in my head I had a funny picture of like the big long neck man with a couple of people sitting on his neck. I was like, oh yeah, that'll be kind of funny. This is Dave having added a spike hazard yeah. It's also a pretty good suicide pit. This is someone using the thing to draw out the perfect 10 that would have been the main feature of Shapeshitter if we had done Shapeshitter, but we went the wrong direction and made this instead. This is physics disasters, just trying to get the guy to, you know, fall nicely off edges and not get caught on things, stuff like that. So this was my first little mock-up of just what the environment could be like. The Mario World hills, they're kind of the perfect vehicle to just make abstract platforming puzzles on and have it look right in that theme. But if you're trying to go inside, like indoors, you're either going to massively constrain what you can do with platforming, or you're going to have it not look like a proper structure indoors. Those blocks, because we knew we were doing it with a tile editor, so that just needed to be something that could be plonked down really, really quickly. You know, that didn't need special edge pieces and things like that to look good. So yeah, I just made that tiling block. I just had the wallpaper on the back and the skirting board and table and chair to make it kind of hint maybe this is inside a restaurant. If we started looking at potentially the guy having arms that would dangle, and we still wanted to do that even right up near the end, so that I liked the idea of, he's got arms there, but he never uses them. They're always just flopping, and he's just using his body to pick things up for some reason. But yeah, we didn't end up getting time, actually. The arms would have been cool, though. So Jon had started working. We talked about picking guys up and transporting them around. We started talking about sounds here, talking to our voiceover buddy. And yeah, Dave made a quick list of like all the different sounds we would want. And the sounds ended up being really cool. I think before the sounds went in, I was like, this game's okay. But as soon as the sounds were in for when you stretch and stuff, I was like, yep, I'm super glad we made this thing. This is really cool. This is an expanded mock-up where this was like an example of a character that you'll carry around. I was imagining you could potentially have different heights chairs you have to carry them to. I thought some silhouetted background details would help it feel more like a place, less a stupid abstract thing. And at that point, I'd thought maybe I could replace spikes with fragile wine bottles, and if you touch them, you wouldn't die, but it'd be like, you spilled the wine, how uncouth, or something. So this was starting to build the tutorial levels. Build a series of levels that just had some simple text in them that would one by one take you through the mechanics, so that you know how to play the game, you know what the controls are, and then build a series of challenges after that use the mechanics in more interesting ways. Yeah, more talking about, more trying to fix problems with collision and nutting out this concept of picking guys up and carrying them around. I think we're settling on restaurant for the theme as far as sound. This is talking about just the general tone and atmosphere, and do like some sweet, like snooty violin thing in the background. This is more Jon's work in progress stuff, figuring out how the picking up and dropping multiple objects and stuff worked. So this is getting our voiceover buddy Shrimpy to do some voices, and this was just Dave showing the image of the old lady. So Shrimpy knows what kind of voice we were hoping for, just to match her. This is the guy who's horribly penetrating that end level object. Some slight problems with the legs. Talking about what the characters will say. So talking about how they just do random little kind of mumbling. I think this is actually me starting to panic and realize that I just absolutely can't get Unity, the version of Unity they're all using to work on my tablet. This is me posting an error log saying, Dave, what does this mean? How do you fix my Unity? Dave's posting like a batch file to try and run Unity in a way that doesn't open the project wizard, because I thought that was what was crashing it, and blah, blah, blah. And so I guess this is the first thing with the guy. What? I never saw that GIF. Oh no, why can't we have rotating physics? That would be awesome. I never saw this one. Oh man, that's cool. Obviously early tests of getting it all going. I don't know what happened there. The dialogue we were sort of imagining just sort of muffled, like Jon starting to get in the mechanic of attaching the people, like taking the people to their chairs, and it looks like we've got the exit door in there as well. We talked about what we would call the thing. Dave had the idea just to call it the maitre d', and I was cool with that. I like the idea of it just being pretty self-serious in the way it presents itself, apart from the fact that your guy is snaking around like crazy and stretching. I actually ended up breaking that a little bit and putting in some jokey tech stuff. Dave tried to get the thing to work with the version of Unity, that I was on, so that I didn't have to go home, but I'd already gone home by then. So I'll talk about the voices. Jon encountering slight problems with the way some of this stuff is set up. This is just Jon playing with kind of what's possible in terms of transporting ladies around with the stretching mechanic. Paul's been knocking out a whole lot of levels at this stage. I did some more characters. So these are kind of 1 block high, 2 blocks high, and 3 blocks high. And I just wanted them to look all posh and snooty. And I kind of like the idea of them kind of filling out their physical rectangles kind of as much as possible, so they were kind of really square-edged and chunky, talking about what voices the different characters would have, and then Dave talking about what all the events would be that would trigger voice things and sound effects. Oh no, wait a minute. No, this is Dave's list for me, actually, just a list of like hot art things that I need to do. This was the talking about the different things we would want voices for, potentially, like different events that would cause them to talk or make noises. Us, like, it's getting late and we're trying to figure out how much longer we've actually got. Paul had set up a whole lot of levels, and this is just a bit of talk about the order of the levels, because we had the characters in there and carrying them to the chairs, but because of all the tutorial stuff, you actually didn't get to that until really far into the game. So we're talking about just reordering the levels so that you get to that kind of sooner, and that feels like more of a core part of the game. This is when we were talking about the wine bottles, and everyone's like, the wine bottles aren't working as spikes, they're not obvious, it's weird that you die when you touch them. And so I went and tried a whole bunch of stuff, and none of it worked, and so I ended up just going with spikes just because they made sense to the player. I can show, this is some of my, so I sort of tried a rat trap thing, which just didn't work, just because of the way a rat trap would sit, kind of down on the ground. If I wanted to like stand up and take up a block, like, it just looked like a rectangle. I couldn't get it to work. But so I thought still another thing in a restaurant was maybe a rat, and so I'd drawn this rat that maybe you're like stepping on these big rats, but it visually didn't fit in with the style, and it just looked really, really ugly to have a bunch of them. I tried this bomb, but the bomb also looked ugly to have a bunch of them just stuffed into a ditch like that. And so eventually I just like called it a day and did some spikes, but I kept the bomb because I thought there are sometimes where you walk into a thing sideways instead of dropping down on it, and that feels a bit weird with spikes, so I thought I'd keep the bomb for those kind of sideways walking into things circumstances. So this was talking to Louis about what the music should be like, talking about just what the tone would be. Yeah, this was examples because we were talking about having kind of very posh, just snooty sounding, like, violin music, or just like a lone cello sort of thing. But yeah, just a lot of back and forth about, maybe could be like this, could be like that, what's the intended tone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Shrimpy talking about the kind of utterances of the different characters, what he's done. I think he put a zip file in there for us to check out, and then Dave's grabbing him and chucking him in the game. This was the GUI, this was the HUD to show how much lotion you have. This was the first implementation of it. The scale is giant, and some of the like sizes there are a bit wonky, but that's the basic thing, all working as it should. Pretty soon I start complaining about it being too big and saying, hey, make it small, make it small. And this is Paul listing out all the levels he's made and starting to kind of look a bit more final. He's like, it's too small, it's too small. Yeah, this was talking about, so he ended up with this crouch, and so this is just talking about putting in some little feet at the bottom of his crouch, because currently the crouch consisted of just disappearing his legs and his torso just like squishing onto the ground, which was cool anyway. This is when people started going to bed. I think this was like last night. Yeah, okay, so I started doing a walking animation at this point. I'll for his legs, guy. I think this was the first thing that I blocked out. It was a bit rough and crummy, but I think it ended up pretty similar to that. Then I sort of broke it up, cleaned it up a little bit. And yeah, this is the frames I exported for that. We're talking about the HUD, getting the size right, getting the layout right. Sweet bugs. I think this is actually getting pretty close to done. Ah, yeah, sweet bug. I'm pretty sure that bug's still in there, so don't focus on that too much. And yeah, this is where we started like Dropboxing final builds and doing final testing and all this junk. Yeah, this is me starting to panic and go, but can't we just do this? Can't we just make it so you can do these things? And can't we just add some particles here and make this flash and make these guys scale and animate the face and do this and do all that stuff? And like not realizing that we only had like about 40 minutes until it had to be done. And yeah, this is final music stuff. Louis being ashamed that he wasn't happy with the music he had made and trying to weasel it out of the game and saying, don't put it in the game, it's terrible, just use something else. And Dave saying, no, just fucking give me the music, give it to me. Yeah, putting some feedback on going through the door so that you know that you've touched it properly. Dave's just posted it on the Ludum Dare website, giving us a link. Louis' music that he's ashamed of, saying, fine, here it is, put it in the game. That's what happened. That's how we made the game. Simple. This was my... I need to show this because this is my crowning glory. And it didn't make it into the game. But this was going to be like looking around and looking all, and he would have been so alive, and the game would have been so much better if he had this in. But everything that I've done that doesn't go in there, is like a massive injustice. How could we not have my face? Look at his face. Look how snooty he is. He needs an animated face. This is his actual structure. These are the actual sprites that make him up. This is his face, special version of his face for when he's squished down to one square. This is the main part of his body. There it is when it bends left and right, and that's the version for when he's kind of pulled up higher out of his pants. This is the pants bit, more blue, cool little feet, and his special little crouching feet. So I thought now I'll just play through the game. We'll have like a capture of it. I'll see if I can just play through it in its entirety. Boop, 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 boop. Alright. So we get a taste of Louis' terrible music that he hates, that was horrible, that he didn't want us to put in there. That sounds pretty sweet. And he's the little guy. Here it is, look. At his little legs. Imagine how much better this would be. The entirely different experience if his face was sometimes blinking and looking around. Really, my favourite thing about this is just those sound effects. The walking sound effect is cool. Jumping sound effect is cool. It's all like balloon. I don't know who did the Foley. Did Dave do Foley or Shrimpy or one of those guys Lloyd, or they just collected off a free sound website? I don't know. So this is introducing to the mechanic of collecting the people, putting them in their chairs.
Why, thank you.
I also really like the click when you put them into their chairs. It makes me feel like they've got like a little latch kind of in the butt, and like it clicks right into the chair.
Magnifique.
That's a bit of Shrimpy's wonderful voiceover. I think that background room noise, it sounds like I can hear Dave's baby in the background. Is that... I don't know if that's captured from Dave's face, but it sounds like it.
Voila.
I like this little guy, the little one square hut guy. He's French.
Merci mille fois.
That's more Shrimpy's voice work.
Magnifique.
This guy.
By Jove.
Oh, no. I've become uncouth.
Good Lord. Merde.
I'm...
By Jove. Much obliged.
Oh, I guess the clicking is the door opening. It's not the guy. In my head, it's like he's clicking into a slot on his seat. We could do with better feedback when you touch the door. I think I screen checked there before. I don't know why that didn't, but yeah, apart from that, like I'm pretty, you know, I'm actually
Très bien.
there's loads more things I was imagining on a lot of things. This has been a bit of a weird one actually because we tried to use built-in animation tools and stuff. So that's in the end why there's no animation on everything, because those tools are just not really usable, especially compared to what we've been using. So you know, there's like just his legs that have any animation on them at all. There's, you know, some particles. Yeah. But still, it was a good learning experience. Trying to get our heads around that, see if we should be using that in the future or what the issues are. Still keep branch.
Très bien.
So the lotion allows you to stretch more. So down the bottom left, you can see the lotion meter. As I stretch, I lose blobs from the lotion bottle. As I unstretch, I get it back again. So currently I've got 3 available blobs. Then I pick up another lotion, and I've got 4, and 5. So now I can squish a lot more. Yeah, those sounds are my favorite thing.
By Jove! Capital. Très bien.
I just wanted to stretch just to hear it.
Voilà.
Uh-oh.
Je vous remercie.
So appreciative when you've been doing that. That's the crouching worm mode that I like.
Oh my goodness.
Both of us actually.
Good Lord.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Oh, man. There we go.
Why, thank you.
Excellent.
Très bien.
Much point. So yeah, here you can see that basic hook mechanic that yeah, Dave kind of figured out in the early thing that really ended up being like the big core of it. I think the legs worked out okay for when you're dangling there as well. Oh,
Zut alors.
uncouth.
Voilà. Je vous remercie.
Très bien.
So this is all Paul's handiwork, all this level design. Really good being able to just focus on trying to do the art and figure out mechanic stuff. And not think about actually building the individual levels. So yeah, Paul used to work with us in the industry for a long time. And he did levels back then, so yeah, it's been cool.
Je vous remercie.
Work together again. And I think that's one of the coolest things about game jams and stuff. You get to collaborate with people. Not that I've actually managed to do that nearly as much as I would like, but yeah, that's the plan in the future, do more collaborations. Yeah, I think this is one of the ones that guy was actually pretty complex to get up onto that chair.
By Jove.
Making him a lot simpler, just saying,
Much obliged.
it was actually a really clever design by Paul, but it was probably just too challenging for the casual play we're going to have from the Ludum Dare thing, and people would just get frustrated and not continue the game. Like, I think it's probably better that we
Sacre bleu.
that they end up playing through the whole thing than the things be super challenging. But yeah, it's all kind of weird stuff to make.
Je vous remercie.
I don't usually do puzzly sort of stuff and have stuff. I just wanted to get up there and get those things. I don't think I need to.
Très bien.
Fuck. Okay. So I think this level that actually teaches you to crouch comes just after that level where you kind of have to crouch to fit through that thing. Maybe you can get through it without crouching, but the way I get through there is by crouching myself up. I remember thinking there was something like that going on, and then thinking about it. Hey, look, there's the bomb. Woo.
Magnifique.
Everyone's sleeping.
Très bien.
This is obviously basically textbook maitre d'. As you would see in any odd restaurant. There are moments in this, I think, that you're like stretching out really weirdly, then you get inside and grab something and have like a bit of a kind of vibe that I really like around a city. So, yeah, grab that picture.
Oh, I say. You are too kind.
Plebeian.
Plebeian.
Voila!
Zut alors.
Couth.
Voila!
What have I done? Whew. I got too crazy with the worming.
Je vous remercie. Oh my goodness.
Jumping onto spikes.
You are too kind.
Plebeian.
Sacre bleu. Je vous remercie.
By Jove. Much obliged.
Give him that lotion. I get it. This is probably my favorite thing in the game is okay. Jumping up and squeezing. Was missing something. It's so good worming around. Uh-oh. Ignore that. Uh-oh. Ignore that. Nothing happened there. All. Can I collect this guy? Uh-oh.
Voilà.
What have I done? Get the ocean for this guy.
Voilà. Merci mille fois.
It's gotta be enough. I had him. Damn it. Here we go.
Je vous remercie.
Très bien.
it being long enough that I didn't have to get out of the crouch. I can just like stay in my sleep form. Oh. We need to like to. We got enough stretchy juice.
By Jove! Capital.
Yeah. I need to. There.
Oh, I say.
Easy.
You are too kind.
Ah, that was it. It's the final level. This is our credits sequence. Created by C-Dads. This little good friends, like the film guys, and a bunch of our buddies we hang out with and all working games with us in the past. Shrimp's real name has been revealed.
Magnifique.
Game complete. We made a game. It was like 4 days or 3.5 or something. It was pretty good. I'm pretty sleepy now. I've recorded the video and now put it on YouTube and go to sleep. See ya.